Henry VIII, the king who rotted alive. Do you think you know Henry VIII? The king with 6 wives who challenged the Pope and founded a new church? Then get ready, because this is the story of a king who ended his life in decomposition, drowned in paranoia, cruelty, and tragedy. A story so grotesque, not even history books dare to tell it. In his final years, Henry didn't rule, he merely existed. Weighing over 400 pounds, with infected leg ulcers, he gave off such a terrible stench that even his servants vomited when approaching him. He had to be carried in special chairs, and pieces of his body literally fell to the ground while being transported. The palace corridors became trails of flesh and pus, the throne a golden prison of suffering and shame. Silence took over the court. Everyone around the king knew a wrong gesture, a misunderstood comment, and heads would roll. Fear was constant, and the smell of death walked with him. The most powerful man in England became, little by little, the most feared, not out of respect, but out of terror. In 1536, an accident in a tournament changed everything. Henry fell violently during a joust and was unconscious for hours. After that, the cheerful and strategic king was replaced by an unstable, explosive, and dangerous man. The trauma possibly affected his brain, and his behavior was never normal again. He distrusted everyone. Servants, doctors, advisors, even his children were watched as potential enemies. Criticism of his health became a crime. Courtiers walked in silence, afraid of becoming another statistic in the executions at the Tower of London. Henry created an internal espionage system where even the spies were spied on. A world of whispers, fear, and betrayals, real or imagined. And his wives? Everyone knows Henry VIII had 6 lives, but what few know is the level of psychological torture and brutal manipulation these women endured. Anne Boleyn was accused of adultery and watched friends and her own brother die before her turn at the scaffold. Catherine Howard, a teenager, was executed for not being a virgin. Henry even created a new law just to ensure her condemnation. Catherine of Aragon died in isolation, forbidden to see her daughter Mary, while the king spread rumors that she was mad. Anne of Cleves had to publicly thank him for the honor of having their marriage annulled without execution. Jane Seymour died after giving birth to his long-desired male heir. Catherine Parr became her nurse. For these women, there was no way out. Divorce was forbidden. Escape meant death. Fighting back was suicide. They weren't women. They were chess pieces sacrificed on the board of a king gone mad with power. And the worst part? None of them had a choice. Escape was impossible. Retaliation meant certain death. They were prisoners in a castle made of fear and control. In food, Henry found a dark solace. His meals were true spectacles of excess: roasted boars, swans, deer, oysters, bread, and wine in absurd quantities. He believed certain foods brought special powers and ate as if he were a demigod immune to decay. But his body told another story: swollen, sick, broken, a king devoured from inside and out. The palace kitchens ran 24 hours a day just to satisfy the king's appetite. More than 200 people worked daily to ensure the royal table was always full, even if he could barely get out of bed. His palace became a labyrinth of spies and hidden eyes. Henry ordered the construction of secret passages, spy holes in walls to watch meetings. Even the spies were spied on. Fear was the rule. Trust, a lost luxury. Even his daughters, Mary and Elizabeth, were treated as potential traitors, watched inside their own home. And then came death. His body, so swollen from decomposition gases, exploded inside the coffin during the procession. Parts of the king spread along the road. Dogs licked his remains. The people watched in silence and horror. The tomb had to be rebuilt several times. Not even the soil wanted to house that cursed body. For days, the fetid smell could still be sensed in the surroundings. Guards fainted. Clergy refused to pray for his soul. But the impact of Henry did not die with him. The kingdom he left behind was divided, fractured by religious violence, forced reforms, and the memory of a government built on fear. His son Edward took the throne, but died young, without heirs. His daughter Mary inherited an unstable throne, marked by persecutions and executions in the name of faith. Elizabeth, who survived her father's suspicions, would reign for decades, trying to heal the wounds left by him. Henry VIII was not just a man in physical decay. He was a symbol of an empire in moral collapse. His legacy was a mixture of political glory and human ruin, a monarchy that shone on the outside but rotted from within. A grim reminder that absolute power, when it finds no limits, turns the king into a tyrant and the man into a monster. This was the man who claimed to rule by divine right. Henry VIII, the king who destroyed everything he touched. The king who rotted in life. If this story impressed you, like this video, share it with someone who loves history, and subscribe to the channel for more narratives that the classroom never dared to tell. See you in the next chapter of history, the one few know but everyone should hear.